There seems to be no other word to describe trade at the NSE at the moment other than completely lackluster, with very little providing any direction right now.
Yes, I mean, the problem is that what's going to drive the market is confidence in the market, or if the newsworthy items. I mean, if you look at the only really issue is the banking sector, where the banking stocks seem to have done really badly. And that's because of some pronouncements by CBN on the state of those banks' balance sheets, as well as the S&P report on the state of Nigerian banking. I think that's decreased confidence in the market, and they have seen the effect on the banking stocks. But the market on the whole, everyone seems to be waiting for SEC and the other regulators and NSE to bring in the reforms that are required to increase confidence in the market.
Well, as I was saying earlier, some have said that the Monetary Policy Committee keeping rates unchanged at 6% is expected to see some increased participation in the equities market in the medium term. Is there consensus around that?
I don't think there is. I think the MPC leaving at 6%, there's some argument about whether the effect that MPC rate has on the real economy. Because you have MPC is kept at 6% for over a year now. You still have prime lending rates at north of 18%. You still have other lending rates at 22% in the market. So what effect has the MPC maintained its easing strategy on the market? No one really knows. And so I don't think there's going to have that much effect on the market.
What is expected to have some impact, though, and that a little bit more definite, is the results out of Dangote flour, Flourmills of Nigeria and Honeywell flour as well. Let's look at these players one by one here, because Dangote flour was up in yesterday's session in anticipation of those numbers. What are your broad expectations out of their results?
I think Dangote flour have quite good results. I think what they've done is they've, from their offer of about 2 years ago, they've increased their capacity, they've streamlined their business processes, and we're going to see some pretty good growth, I think, in Dangote flour results.
What kind of competitive landscape, Kayode, are we looking at here? Because we know that Dangote flour has always been the firm favorite, but we do have to consider the likes of Flourmills of Nigeria and Honeywell flour as well.
I think Flourmills of Nigeria is the biggest player. It has roughly about 40% of the market. Dangote has in mid-20s in the market, and Honeywell comes a distant third or fourth. I think what you see is that Flourmills is a bit of a anomaly in there, because Flourmills is really a conglomerate. It doesn't really just do flour. It has cement packing, it controls port area, and it owns backhoe as well. So there are other things going into the Flourmills results. But I think Dangote flour and Flourmills are by far the two leaders in the market, and their figures will show that. And I think the competition from Honeywell flour has increased since their offering about a year ago, but they really are a distant third or fourth to those two big players.
Oh, well, moving on to the banking space, I mean, reading through some trading notes, AfriInvest has highlighted some renewed interest in a couple of the top tier banks, GT and First Bank really ranking amongst those right now. What are you making of that interest that we're seeing in top tier banks specifically?
I think what the investors are looking at is initially there was a drive towards the rescued banks. Everyone thought there was going to be value there, and especially if the AMCON comes and takes off the toxic debt, that there could be some real value in taking positions in those shares. Now with the uncertainty about when AMCON is going to come in place, the pricing mechanism, whether it's going to be able to take off the toxic debt, I think interest in those banks have waned, and everyone's going back to what they know, which is the two strongest banks at the moment, at these local banks anyway, GT and First Bank, and people are going back into there because they still see them as undervalued going to the Nigerian market and where they were about a couple of years ago. But they see them good growth strategies, good management, and they seem to have a strong strategy going forward. I think they're attracting investors back into them. On
the flip side, we had Diamond Bank and Sterling Bank in yesterday's session see some profit taking emerge, ending the day down. So showing just how uncertain rather, the market is at this stage of the game, and not wanting to lock up or tie in any capital for too long. So even if we do see this renewed interest in the top tier banks, there's no guarantees that it's going to be for too long in any case, right?
Exactly. I think the reason why GT and First Bank are drawing attention is because they seem to have pretty strong risk management procedures, and their toxic loan position is